So good afternoon, everyone. Happy New Year 2022. Today is already the 4th of January. And the question I want to ask you all, first of all, does anybody else feel a bit sluggish? Yeah.
Yeah, but
I think we're meant to feel full of enthusiasm, get up and go, and all the rest of it, aren't we? This is what we're being told. Has everybody booked some kickoff events? Yeah?
yes,
Yeah, I've booked 3 at the moment. I might do more. We certainly don't have to drive anywhere, and it doesn't have to cost us any money. And I've said to folk, I can see Dawn's joined us. She's coming over on the Sunday for the Midlands kickoff. I was looking forward to going to these because I actually do find they energize me. The kickoffs really energize. And I feel that's what we're lacking. But I do understand why the company have done what they've done, because we don't know where we are, do we, with this government at the moment? No. It's all over the place. I've got an appointment tomorrow, which I made back in 28th. No, it wasn't. Lie. When was it? It was a very cold Dorset Winter County show. It was damn freezing, the coldest event that I think I've ever done. I didn't know what to do with myself, but I've got an appointment tomorrow, and it was all looking really good until all of a sudden I was asked, would I like to take a lateral flow test? And I said, well, I've never taken one. And I said, I don't think as a healthy person that the government should be promoting that healthy people test themselves. I call it being a hypochondriac. That
yeah.
I never know when you've been healthy that you look for symptoms or try and find them. So I said to the lady, why don't we come to a compromise? And she said, what's that? And I said, do you know about Zoom? And she said, oh yes, I do Zooms. I said, right, I'll send you a link and we're doing it by Zoom. She's happy, I'm happy. And I think that's possibly a lot of the problem we've got, is that there are a lot of terrorized people out there. And that's what's going on. So we've got to work around it, and we've got to find the best way to help folk, because this couple very much want their bills looked at, and I want to help them. So on that note, it's about last night, Rob Barras had Chris Williams for over an hour. It was about an hour and 10 minutes. And he was talking about goal setting. I think Chris Williams is possibly one of the best people in the whole network to do it. Who watched it last night? Anybody? Wasn't it great? It was absolutely fantastic. And I wrote loads and loads of notes. And don't get me wrong, there was much stuff there that I already knew. But I think, like everybody, as time goes on, we get rusty. We need to hear things in repetition before finally the penny drops. I used to be in advertising, and it was said that people need 7 pieces of information before finally they might actually do something. Isn't that interesting? So I don't think that we could say we're any different. So even if you watched last night, I can't claim to be Chris Williams, and I haven't got an hour and 15 minutes to give you. So what I'm going to do is give you some things that I feel were the salient points to help us feel we can get going, get off the starting block. So number 1 is, if you haven't already done so, please book on some kickoffs. You know, this is amazing, the amount of time and effort that is going into these, and all we've got to do is zoom in and watch it on our screens. Isn't that wonderful? Aren't we lucky? And I suggest, if you have other people nearby, other partners, whether they're in your team or not, it would be a really great idea to meet up and be together, because it is much nicer, and you can share tips and ideas. So that's the top number 1. Sorry, it's my computer making noises. That's the top number 1 idea to do, is book some kickoffs. Now this Saturday, it's the Southwest kickoff. Sunday is Midlands, and they're scattered through the weekends coming up over January. Okay, that's primarily why I haven't actually booked at the moment to go back into home base, because we've got a very busy January at the weekends. And also I fear that we've got a government, despite the fact that deaths are at their lowest and everything is that, all they keep doing is actually promoting that cases are surging, and that is causing, I think, a standstill. I think we might be going into lockdown on Thursday. In fact, I could even probably lay my next month's commission on it. I'm that confident that's what will happen. All right, even though we're all fit and well, are we? Yes, we are.
Yeah.
So let's talk about how to energize ourselves. Let's talk about how to get back into the driving seat. Yes. So I'd like you to go with me on this, because I'm not going to do what Chris Williams did. I'm going to ask you to get a piece of paper, just an ordinary piece of paper, doesn't have to be large. If it's an A4, great. Or if you're in a book, just draw it in the book. I want you to get that piece of paper, and I want you to draw centrally a line vertically down the center of the piece of paper. And then likewise, centrally, I want you to draw a horizontal line so that you end up with a cross. Okay, that's it. Wonderfully displayed by Dawn there. Now, what I'd like you to do is, in the top left-hand corner, I want you to put E, head it E, and then underneath, I want you to put employed. That's top left. Then under that, I want you to put in brackets job, J-O-B. I don't know whether any of you know, but it is an acronym for just over broke. That's what jobs do. They just give you enough money so that you're out of being broke. In fact, we used to jokingly say in years past, jobs stood for just jump out of bed on a journey of boredom to just over broke. Okay, that's how we feel about jobs, about being employed. In fact, 80% of the population are in that quadrant. This is a chap, and I'm going to hold it up. I don't know if you can see. This book is called The Cash Flow Quadrant by Robert Kiyosaki. And I have not only read this several times, but I've listened to it on audio. This was one of the many books that in the early days made me start thinking differently. I don't know where your backgrounds are from, but my background was purely employed. I'd always been in jobs. I'd been a police officer. I was in a job. I'd worked as a litigation officer, recovery officer for Frizzell, now Liverpool, Victoria. I was in a job. I worked for the Yorkshire Building Society in investments, a job. And what I've learned from Robert Kiyosaki is you invariably will never, ever get free of debt or having to get yourself into a situation of complete financial peace while you're in a job. If that's your sole main way of income, it's very limiting. Okay, sorry if that's bad news to some people. It's not meant to be bad news. This is about inspiring you to think differently. So now I want you to go left-hand column underneath employed. I want you to write now self-employed. Self-employed. Okay. Now, self-employed sounds fantastic, doesn't it? You're now no longer answerable to a boss. but you're actually answerable to the worst boss in the world, yourself. And you've got nobody wielding a stick motivating you. You've got nobody saying, come on, get out of that bed, come and do some work. And you've also got to have lots and lots of self-motivation. And you are responsible for everything. And often people that are self-employed and they employ people, they're the ones that they will often say is, do you know what? They all earn money. They clock off at 5:30, 6, whatever it is. And often the person that owns the business might be doing 18 hours a day and actually drawing a lot less. That's an interesting prospect, isn't it? And I know I have many people that come into this business from that quadrant. So now let's go top right. And I want you to write in there, own business. Or if you could put in there big business in brackets. Okay, and then the bottom, we're going to talk about that one in a moment. And then underneath the final quadrant, right bottom, I for investor. Okay, I for investor. So this is the cash flow quadrant, and this is what Robert Kiyosaki talks about in this stunning, stunning book. I've got it here in front of me, and it is absolutely amazing. In fact, I flicked this afternoon through the pages again, because obviously it's some years since I've read it. And I remember thinking, that's interesting. So what he says is, with having a job, being employed, you literally have a job. When you're self-employed, you own a job. When you are a business, you own a system, and then people work for you. So that could be a big business, couldn't it? Really big. And then with the investor, money works for you. Now, I'm going to recommend this book because I think it's so powerful. It really is good. The other one that Chris Williams talked about is Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Yeah.
Rich Dad, Poor Dad was my late husband's most favorite book on audio. It completely transformed his way of thinking, because my late husband was self-employed and he was in the trap. He was an absolute astonishingly good bespoke bathroom and kitchen fitter. The problem with dear Chris was that he could never trust anyone else to do the job as well as him. So everything lay on his shoulders. That's difficult, isn't it? Whereas we have got something amazing with UW. We are entrepreneurs without risk. That's what I call it. Entrepreneurs without risk. Because we have a business, we're self-employed, but number one, we don't have any staff. We don't have to devise any human resource HR policies. We don't have to deal with wages. We don't have to do any of that. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
So what we have is a voluntary army. We are all self-employed, just ourselves. We're responsible for ourselves, but we can build a team, show other people how to get to financial freedom, financial stability. They don't work for us. They hopefully ask for help and support, and we coach and mentor them to do for themselves. Now, as Chris Williams rightly said, It is wonderful to get customers. Now, I put my hand up. I have always basically got customers first and then got partners from customers. That's just been my modus operandus. It's the way that I've been able to do it. For me, I've always felt if I could show someone how to reduce their bills and ethically they love it, do you know what? They're going to be a prime candidate to see that they could do this for themselves because they've already got that personal belief. That's the way I've done it. Whereas Chris says, what you need to do is go out there and show them this amazing opportunity. And if they can't see it, then just say to them, well, let's reduce your bills anyway. And you'll get customers that way. Now, either way works, as I have proved. My way works, Chris Williams' way works. But Chris Williams, I think, has got a bigger business than me. I think he could be sitting on about 36,000 group customers. Okay. So it's take your pick, do it the way that you want to do it. Okay. Because the reality is it's wonderful getting customers, but in a respect, you still have a job. Because you're still doing a bit of exchanging time for money. Is that true?
Yeah.
Now, don't get me wrong. If you do the job well, when you go and see them and you do it properly, the full presentation, and they take the cashback card and they understand, like many of my customers do, they stay with me. They have been with me now 17 odd years. Then you do get residual, what we call royalty income, walk away income. And that's fantastic. But if you really want to have walkaway income, if you want true financial peace, it's offer this to everybody. Okay, and that's where own business comes in, but with a difference. You are an entrepreneur without all the risks. I mean, it's crazy, isn't it now? How much does it take to join? A ridiculous £10. It's almost laughable, isn't it? I almost feel embarrassed. That's no investment whatsoever. Do you not think if it was something like £500 or £1,000 people invested, they'd take it a bit more seriously?
Yeah.
Yeah, they certainly would. All right. So what we've got is something that is financially risk-free. The one thing that we do is we give up our time. And time is a massive, valuable commodity. All right. It's a huge commodity. It is important that we respect our time and we use it wisely. And that's where, as Chris Williams said, this business is working smart. Please write that down. Not hard. We're working smart, not hard. Now, look, how many people do we meet? I would say this of my own parents. My own parents worked really hard all their lives, very hard, but they didn't necessarily work smart. Yes, they've got a reasonable retirement. For them, they were lucky. They had endowments that came out. They've managed to get a reasonable state pension. Okay, but I know they're in the minority, but they certainly don't live the life of Riley. Okay. But that was because they worked hard. They exchanged time for money. With this, we are leveraging time. Here's the big thing. And I love this phrase. And Robin Brooks said this years ago, and I've never forgotten it. If we do this business wisely, what we're doing is showing a lot of people to do a little creates a lot. I think it's great. A lot of people doing a little creates a lot. Or, in other words, the John Paul Getty syndrome. I'd rather have 1% of 100 people's efforts than 100% of my own. Does that sound like leveraging your time? So, over this last fortnight, for about 15 days, I'll be honest, I've done virtually nothing. Oh, God, how do I admit that? Isn't that naughty? I haven't done a lot. I might have made the odd phone call. I did actually do an appointment on New Year's Eve in the morning. Signed up a carpenter that I've got coming here. And he's taken everything and has decided he's going to join this week as a partner. So actually, that's a 2-hour window that I did New Year's Eve was a very good 2-hour window, because I don't know, he could build a massive business, couldn't he? He was so excited and said he was reeling names off to me, loads of names of all these people that he knew that instantly, oh, they could become customers, they could become customers. And I thought to myself, that's good. He was telling me, and I thought, that's wonderful. So that was using the time wisely. So does that kind of give you a little bit of inspiration about why maybe it'd be a good idea to use some more time to this business than maybe the day job? Yeah. So this was something else that Chris did, and I thought it was excellent. I want you to write, why is this the best business? Write that down. Why is this the best business? And number one, it has potentially unlimited income. Now, okay, I'm going to be pedantic. It's up to £1 million a year. But there's very few people earning £1 million a year. Is that true?
That's the question.
Put it this way. If you were on, I'm going to give you this, because you could have 10 grand a month coming in, 20 grand a month coming in. But let's bring it back to some reality. If every single month without fail, as Chris said, supposing you had the equivalent of £24,000 a year, so that's 2,000 a month, dropping in your bank account from royalty income, do you know that that's the average cost for people to run their homes? The average cost. Imagine never having to worry ever about mortgages, council tax, water, electric, gas, all the bills, insurances, everything. Do you not think that that is financial freedom? Is that not absolute peace of mind, financial peace? Okay, it may not give you amazing holidays away, although at the moment we can't seem to even do that, but to not worry about a bill ever coming in again, I think is incredible. And it's 24,000 a year, the average. That is so obtainable. That's obtainable at senior group leader level, just turning senior group leader level. Okay. Number two, in the next of why this is the best business, product life cycle. That's what he wrote. The element in a shortened version to what he said was, these are essential services. No products to buy and sell. No super duper creams or anything as such like that. Do you know what? Every single person, sadly, whether we like it or not, uses gas, electricity. They may not have gas, they could have just electric. They do use their mobile phones, they use broadband, they pay for home insurance. Oh my God, we don't have to ask people to buy this stuff. They're already using it. All we do, as I learned from Steph Longworth, is say to someone, now carry on using what you're using, but let's transfer your spend so that forevermore you pay less. How's that a sale? It's not a sale. Isn't that fantastic? What a wonderful thing. We have the ultimate essential services that people will use. I said it in a testimonial, not last year, actually, the year before, thinking about it, because it hit me quick. I'd always said this business is weatherproof. I've said it's recession proof, and now it's pandemic proof. Here we are. I gave you the example. I'm doing a Zoom tomorrow at 2. I came up with a compromise and the lady said, yes, that's lovely. Isn't that great? So number 3 on that scale, it's scalable. What that means is it's repeatable. The whole of our business model is based on, do you know what? Find a few people, a minimum of 3, possibly more, that between all of you, you make up and you become what's called a team leader. All right. That is you with a minimum of 10 and then a minimum 50 group customers between all of you, and you become a team leader. The whole business model is pods of team leaders. In fact, you can do it on a minimum of 11 to senior group leader. Often there's more, but you could effectively do it on 11. Just lots of team leaders. And as Chris Williams said, you can do that if you wanted to within 45 days. Well, I have done a few of those. I've helped people come in, got them going, and guess what? They can become a team leader. Team leader is the basis of it all. Isn't that fabulous? So it's scalable, it's doable, it's repeatable, it's coachable. Number 4, recruiting. Anybody. What kind of, we've got everyone. We've got stay-at-home mums, stay-at-home dads. We've got firefighters. We have police officers. We've got doctors and teachers. We even have a paediatrician in the business. Solicitors. Is there any profession or any work life that hasn't come into this business and made it work? Everybody's got the same tools. Everybody's given the same training. It's up to that individual what they do with it. And I can tell you, for every, just to give you an example, for every teacher that's come in and made a success of it, and there are lots of them, Danielle Bennett is one. I know loads. There's loads. There's other teachers have come in and not made a success of it. What was the defining denominator? It was them. Because if others can do it, it can be done. It's whether that goes on, you want it enough. Yeah. And last but not least, number 5, passive spend. Okay. So in other words, non-discretionary products, again, essential services, because it's people using the things that they got to use. This is absolutely amazing. Do you know what? There are many network marketing businesses out there. I would not touch them with a barge pole. Never have, never looked at it, won't go there. And yes, I do use some. I have bought organic products, really nice makeup products. But I've always thought to myself, given that a mascara can last me for about a year, I'm not going to buy too many mascaras. You know, if you think about it, and like I buy vitamins and supplements, but again, I wouldn't make it a business because you've got to physically buy those products and then you've got to sell them on. And then there could be things like shelf life and all of that. We haven't got any of that. We don't have to worry about staff. We don't have to buy products. We don't have to. All we do is show people how to say, I'd like to come and show you something. It may be for you, it may not be for you. It's going to benefit you, whatever, but that's whether or not you want to be benefited by. That's the reality, isn't it? Has anyone made any phone calls today? I've made some. I had a lady that I was meant to have an appointment with on the 13th, but she rang me the day before to tell me that she was then attending a funeral and she couldn't do it. And I rang her today and she said, I've spoken to the whole family and decided that I'll wait. And I'm thinking, how does the whole family know what's best for her? So I said to her, tell me why did you decide to wait? Why have you decided to wait to reduce your bills? And she said, oh, well, because I'm already in fixed contracts. I said, oh, right, fantastic, fixed contracts. I said, are you on about energy? She said, yeah. I said, oh, brilliant. When do the contracts expire? Oh, not till the autumn. I said, oh, that's even better. She said, why? I said, because our company will honour those prices with everybody saves. But I said, possibly your family didn't know that because they're not me. But still, she's decided to wait. She said, oh, I've got all your details. I will think about it. And I thought, no, you won't. Do you know what? It happens. Is that true?
Yeah.
I don't know how many thousands of customers down the line and I still get the knockoffs. And I'm telling you this because it happens to me and it's happened today. All right. And it will always be that way. It's a little bit like we use an example. We go to a restaurant. We went to one yesterday, and all of us had a main course, and then the waiter came round and said, would you like dessert, pudding? And out of 7 of us, only 1 decided to have a pudding. And of course, that was my Juan. That's because he don't put weight on. So we had the sticky toffee pudding with caramel syrup. All right. Now, the waiter did not have a pity party. He didn't go, well, why don't you want a pudding? He didn't do that. He just accepted it. And that's really what we're saying, is take the emotion out and carry on. So I haven't talked about necessarily goals. You've got to decide what it is that you are trying to achieve. Let's make it achievable this next 6 months. What would you like to achieve this next 6 months? Write it down, share it with someone. And I promise you that when you get those little knockbacks, if you've got it written down, your why, we call it, there's probably more reason that you'll carry on. And I've given you the reasons why I feel you would like to carry on. Because I think truly this is the best business. It's not always easy. If it was easy, everybody would be doing it, and it wouldn't be the incredible opportunity that it is. It's challenging, but when we do, if we actually do it the way we're taught in the training, which is the whole presentation, and Chris Williams said that again last night, I've been saying it, I don't miss anything out. It's all there. Then there's a good chance that maybe those people will go, yeah, I like that. I'm going to throw something else in the mix. And that is the Jim Rohn principle. Work harder on yourself than you do on your job. Because when it comes to it, when you show someone a load of savings, or you show them the opportunity, do you know what comes into play more than anything at that point? Do they believe you? Do they believe you that you think it's fantastic? Now, that's not about being wild and mad, and it's about that they can see the confidence in you. And that confidence has got to be deep rooted, deep seated. And people say, when I speak to them, they know that I am speaking from my soul. The truth, the integrity, it's there because I absolutely believe in it. I believe in it because I love my bills. I get really stupid. Do you know what? I never show anyone my January bill ever, because I've done a load of spending at Christmas time, presents and that, and it wipes my bill out. And often there's money going back in the account. It's so incredible. I believe it's too much for people to believe. So I don't show them. I show them one that they believe is more realistic, with about 35 quid a month off the bill. that is like, yeah, that's feasible. So guys, was that very shortened version, because I've gone over, was that helpful?
Yes.
Are you booking maybe an extra kickoff?
I'm on 2 anyway at the moment.
Okay, can I give you one more last top tip? The biggest one of the lot that was in all of what Chris Williams said. Well done. 4, I see book there. Can I say this to you? Commit to do at least one thing a day on your business. Whether it's one phone call. If you do more, fantastic. But as Chris Williams said, and he got this from Emma Sullivan, if you did one thing every day, if everybody in your business did one thing a day, if everybody did one thing a day, that would be a lot. Even if it was from Monday to Friday. Imagine, for me, for example, 2,500 distributors, 5 days a week doing one thing a day. That would be a massive business, off the scale, because within a few weeks, it wouldn't be 2,500. It would have absolutely shot up with partners, with customers. But the reality is most people procrastinate and they don't do one thing a day. They find a reason not to do it. So what's the reasons that you want to do one thing a day, at least? Okay, guys, before we move off, because I'm very mindful of time and I don't want to disrespect your time. I'm very aware of that. Next week, what would you like to talk about? Would you like an elaboration on this, something like this? There are so many things that we can talk about. I believe in the whole confidence thing. How do you build confidence? I believe in understanding personalities and how to build rapport. All those items come into play. There's masses I can talk about. If you want some of that sort of stuff, then please drop me a line. Okay. So that I'm not next week and going, what do you want me to talk about?
Confidence would be good. Because as confident as I am one-to-one or in a little group, I'm not necessarily, you know, when I'm talking to somebody I don't know.
Sure. Yeah, Jen?
Kath was asking in the chat about how you actually lead with the business first rather than the customer with our current presentation.
It's because we normally, you know, the way the presentation is, where the business is at the end. Whereas Chris was saying last night, he always starts and leads with the business. And I just wondered how we can do the presentation, but leading with the business first. It's confusing.
I'm so glad you've asked. Right. I think you might have got a misunderstanding there. What we're on about when we talk about leading with the business, we're on about prospecting.
Okay.
So the prospecting is all about showing people an opportunity how to have an extra income. So that comes first. So that might bring in UW stories, send them to the 15-minute opportunity presentation. It could be any of those things. But then the ultimate goal is still to get in front of them, whether it's Zoom or face-to-face, to then show them the whole presentation.
Got you.
Yeah. Right. Will you please, I'm begging you, will you please drop, you've all got my WhatsApp, drop me a message with stuff, all right? And then I promise it can be of relevance to you. I don't want to be sat here on 4:30 on a Tuesday, waffling on about stuff that you're not interested in. I want it to be meaningful so it helps you. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, guys, I better go before I really
Thanks, Lisa. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Thanks, Lisa.
Bye.
See you at the kickoffs.
Yes.
Bye.
Bye. Happy New Year, Lisa.
And Happy New Year to you.